I had us marked on, I thought, on page Rach Sadi Aleph. I don't know if we did this or not. I was a little sure about that, but let's do the best. What time did we finish today?
6:07.
Okay. Chomer iu avon chodsos shechva zer v'latolam yosef b'shar haveros. So, okay, so let's read. I guess we'll read it from number Zion. Unless you remember that we did this already. So it's a v'zecha v'nyano. Maske levar v'gol pagam avon motzi shvich zer v'latolam kol shazal. V'madura beru chomer yosef b'shar haveros. Why is it worse? V'chein eich na'asa chatikun g'lezeh. Da shebekol chavever shebetoyrech befidu hachamurus ein bechem b'mi shemolid mazikim mamish kabuch motzei shvich zer v'tala kamushi is boyer. Hatam shel chomer avon zecha v'yosef b'shecha bekol chavever shebetoyrech. Hu machma shehachoyte b'shar kol averos av shegorim pagam b'sfiris al yonis mikol makom lo gorim livro mazikim al yedei cheto. Masha ein kein chet hod so shvichus shazal. He says shemilvad b'masha pogim b'sfiris al yonos. He says od hu gorim sheyivru mazikim v'kafi sheyizbar al kein yizbar. Okay, so he said al kein b'bechina zero v'chet zeh chamor mikol shar averos. In number test, he says ki afilu habo al kol ha'rayo shebetera. Know the misham mamzerim, and that happens too. The goof name that says their physical bodies, ba'olam hazem. Afilu v'raveros, he said v'raveros chamuros, kagiloi arayas of gorim rak what it actually calls you voldo mamzerim the goof gashmi ba'olam hazem. About avamatzi shvich zerul of tola. Memenu chomor memenu. B'masha gorem livro mazikim ruchniim. It's not just physical. It is a strong distinction. Pa'emasu shemisha over b'shachar b'vevers mitzlavshim v'bo hamazikim v'naasik categorim alav, and they become his accusers. Afsha b'shar ha'vevers anami, matzidin shemektargem alav hamazikim. Ak mikol makom ein hamazikin noitzrim ayidera hachet, but they don't. That doesn't. Ella heim rag mizlavshim b'maiser averu umektargim alav. Avach hamotzi shvich zero levatala on she gadol ve'ein kates. Halacha betira masha hifligu bezohir b'bekomas rabbi b'rabbi pashas v'yechi. She'amar shekol averos tlukim b'tiyuta. In terms of, you could do tshuva levad memotze shvich zer v'zala. That is late to you because there is to you bar b'torach saga v'yasa. There's a possibility of tshuva, but the fact is that it's going to be very hard, a very torach saga v'yasa. I'm not sure what that meant. But ayin sham inyan so ayin sham. Let's see what he says here. Inyan zeh sha'anvel and Moses shvich zer v'levatalo cham b'kol shar veros v'vucha v'kamba b'koma b'zoer ad kedei kach sha'amra b'sham shalo mo'elas tshuva al avon zeh. So it's a strong statement. The Ashkenaz don't talk about this at all. V'gam amra b'kol ha'nechshar b'avon zeh v'lo v'chazi p'nei malko, that they were not able to see the face of the king. Masha ein came b'shar avedos. V'zecha v'loshen Zohar. This is what the Zohar says. Sham kol man the afik zare b'rekanya. This is shvichas ervatalim. Ikri ra. The person is called evil. V'locha v'chamer afidu shchinta. The ape shchinta, not able to see the face of the shchinta. And I introduced that idea of seeing the face of the shchinta. I'm not sure what actually could be said about that, what it means. Ki lo kael chavetz resha. Obviously, it means panemius, to really get close to Hashem. Chafetz resha atach below yegurcho ra. V'lahai tardim tradim aku amber b'yosef b'kulam. So it's a problem here in this world. He says Alma Yanta Mikula more than anything else. Alma Rebbe Yehuda Rebbe Liz La Hova Rebbe Alma the Lo Liz Tshuva Rebbe Bar Mahai. There's Tshuva for everything except this. Liz La Chayve Rebbe Lo Chaman Afidish Kinta Bar Mahai. So the only one that cannot see the face of the Shechina, which had said previously, is this. The Chsiv Lo Yegurcho Raw a raw clown. Targum Kol Misha Motzi Zara Levatolo. Let me come back a little bit 1 second. So his Kol Misha Motzi Zara the Rake Nikra Raw. Ve'eda Reberoga Benera Shrina. V'la'ada Bezera Betordim Osocha Be'olam Elyon Yosef Bekulam. He is really brought down from the upper world. He says, Amar Rebbe Yehuda Rebbe Ein L'chol Rebbe Ver Be'olam She'ein Lo Tshuva, with the exception of a Verezu. Ve'ein L'chol Chayte She'ein L'chol Zoicha that rose Penecha Shechina, this phrase again, to see the face of the Shechina. Chutz Mizeh, only, with the exception only of this. Now we have some Shefa Kavanos, and we have an Arichas on one of them. So let me find the place. Like I say, number Gimel down below in the Shefa. 1 second. He says, "Da shebekol ve'irich shebeterach befida hachamuros." Let's go down to the light print. Marihitas divrich of Rav Mashma. She'avanot tziyah shvich zer levatala chamor af yosef bebius asuru shechel harayos of rayos beneda. V'chein hu v'chavagan b'shulchan aruch. He says, "Oh, v'zel l'shana aser l'hotzi shvich zer levatala." Now, I went over this with Rabbi Yaakov Cronenberg. What he wants to say is that all the other Averos have some aspect, even if you're having sex with the wrong person, but there is some connection there, at least. But here, there's no connection at all. It's just going, the Zera is going into outer space, or just going to nothing. Also, the Shvicha, that's not good. The others are not good. But on the other hand, this one is empty of connection. Aser lahoser shvicha zera the betala, v'od zecha bechama bekola averisha betorim. Abba base Shmuel Sham over there, you could see hokir shu lav davka. This is not exactly right. And this is the position that we're going to look at. Ba'avon bius asuros chamor mezeh. It's really worse. Vayin od b'chochma shlomo. What does he say? Sham ma sheyoshev ezeh. V'gam b'kavayasha, so he gives site references. Shehevi chomer avon shazal. Kosach of the kol shekain bius asuras kanida. Let's say, for example, v'shechah b'nashem asuras lo. Haris shesvir v'lerebi shehem chomuros yosef avon shazal. So v'tzarach iyun. Of a sefer Atanya. So it goes into Tanya a little bit. Cause of the mitzad echad chamor iser chutzos shvichus zera v'tala yoser mebius asuros v'bechinis hagadlos v'riberi v'atuma hagdolos v'riberi atuma v'chaklipos shemolin u'marbere b'meod b'chutzos zera v'tala yoser mebius asuros. Mitzad sheni chamor yoser iser bius asuros, so it's more severe. Shekain bebius asuras mosiv koich v'chiyos v'klipa temeya b'yoser ad she'enu yochel la'alchos b'sham ha'chiyos al yedei Rebbe TSHUVA mifnei she'niklata, I pronounce it like that, b'yisod the nukva, because it's absorbed in there, or it's nukva the klipa hamkabelas v'kol ha'chiyos mechakadusha, that gathers us up from kadusha. Masha ein came bezera the batala. She'ein shecha bepechid nukva the klipa. You don't have this inyan of the nukva the klipa. Rak shekol chosecha v'chaylosecha malvishim lichiyos shebedefus Let me see. Shebetifus. Masha ein came hakir shebetifus. I think I got this wrong. Malvisha lichiyosh shebetipos. I think it's tipos now. Masha ein kain hakir shebetipos zera lebatala. Aksha yored v'nechlala b'shlosh klipos atameos. It falls into klipos tameos. Harecha b'zecha ba'ola b'sham, but it can come out of there by the tshuva nechoina. Ubekovanas atzuma b'kriya shema she'alamita. So that's our kriya shema alamita v'lechein. Therefore, lo huzgar avon zera lebatala b'ter b'klau bius asura b'klau the bius asuros av shechomor mehem ad kan devarov. That's what he says. Let's go a little bit more. It says shebekol avever shebetorach b'fidach amuros od metzina b'sfarim, and he says he pelayoates. So Eric Kedusha b'shem b'kubalim. Let's go on. He says, one second. He says, Begodel Homer Avanot say Shvicha Zerol Talo Yosef Bishar of Averos. Shebishar of Averos, Azara Bekol Iver Sheosech Averos. So every Iver, I guess you mean maybe Aver, limb. Sheosech Avera that actually gets involved in it. Mam Shagaloch of Ruach Tuma. Al Osa Aver Bavad. So he says, Avach Avon Shikvas Zera Lebatala. Metama is called Evolevit Metama all of his avaras. Mikaf Regel V'ad Rosh. Uvazech of Bir Haresh's Chachma. What's to say over there? Let's skip down. And he says, Divri Rabazor Shalo Mahane Tshuva al Avonzeh. The fee Tshuva kosher b'yoser shekain sark the sakin as called evolov masha ein kain neverish sark the sakin rock shaver aver that particular aver shachado. Let's go on to number ches. Levad b'motze shvir zerotolo. The list law to lays the yuva b'cham b'terach sage v'yaser. I mean, it's a tremendous burden to be able to do this. And it doesn't help even the Malchul Alman. That's the question, what does Malchul Alman mean? Hine al Avshe Bavadai Isser the Lo Mahani the Tshuva Chazeh, Umashve the Klau V'Kolo, Lo of a Klau V'Klau, Lo Mahani the Tshuva, because Malcolm Gavor V'Kotze B'Reish's Chachma, what to say over there? There is tshuva for everything. Od hevi raya behind the door amabel. So it brings a raya over from this idea. Amabel hamtein lehen hakadosh baruch hu kuf kof shan 120 years. Sheyachzer the tshuva and let them do tshuva. But he says, Av shebavura bezoyer she'avonam koya what shveichzer latol. V'harech b'cholona shemahani tshuva la'avon zeh, so it does help. But the chen cost of sham, so it took 120 years, I think, maybe, the chen cost of sham shegavonis azoer. She'ein moel, it doesn't help him, the moel lo tshuva. Tata, rak tshuva law. So what does that mean? V'yu'umim b'geres of the tshuva, the b'achatanya. Masha cost of the var of what he writes in order to explain this. So he brings some help for the concept of the language of the Zohar in Parsha V'Yakel. Shemavura de Mahane Tshuva, it does help. Sheyesh Girsas B'Ksiv Yad B'Zohar in Parshas Noach over there. The Lo Mahane Tshuva Chababar B'Chela the Tiyuv the Tekif. I think Chela means strength, with the power of Tiyuv the Tekif, a really powerful Tshuva. Od Hevi Sham and Rabba Ramak the Shabir, what he says the Ramak, he said the Masha Sha'amar Bezera B'She'ein Moel Tshuva, when the Zohar says that, Hu Mishum Sha Tshuva Ravaki Bibina. Okay, so this is a different idea. The tshuva actually has to do with bina. When you come back to bina, to the mother, so to speak. But in this avon, what actually happens is it doesn't affect that. It affects chachma. Shemisham nishba zera. Alkain, because that's where the origin of the semen comes from. Alkain lo mahadera b'tshuva shehi bebina l'sakad v'gam shebechoch shalom alam. So then he said, "Rak sark l'saking b'makom shehu l'mala me'atshuva." So you have to get to that place. So v'hainu shetzarek la'asos o devarim shehem l'mala b'tshuva, which are above the tshuva. V'bicha b'shechet b'mat sark la'asos yun sham. But the self cost of his elder Haklal she'ein l'chol davar shelo yisukun b'tshuva. There is no such thing that can't be misaken b'tshuva. Masha Pirush b'zarim she'ein l'tala b'tshuva. Husha chuvasa kosher. That's really what it means. It's going to be very difficult for you to be able to get out of this with tshuva. V'afa zecha miklal kushira the tshuva. Where so it shows it that I guess that really means with the exception Plonia Ke'inyan Elisha Acher. So he calls him Elisha Acher. Al Tachush, don't worry about this. Shahar Elisha Acher, Elisha, also known as Acher, Sof Nizkabel Filu Shaloshav. He was, I'm not sure what that Shaloshav means, even if he didn't tshuva, it was Makabel. Kol Shechem Im Koyu Shav Shahoyim Moil Lo Yosef, Yosef would be even greater. Ella Shasagro Dalsera Tshuva, but what it is that the gates to be able to get through and to do Tshuva, he says, is those gates are closed before to really plead al sheyiftach haPesach, until that opening is open. Zelashona kol mashi ober the kol b'balabayis ase chutz matzah. So I know this phrase. I don't know this phrase. So if the balabayis says to you, do this past tense, with the exception of matzah, what's that mean? Balabayis haidor hakodesh baruch Hu. He says what? Kol mashi ober the kol ase mitzvahs. All they tell to you of those mitzvahs, do them. A mitzvahs ase. Chutz matzah. What's pshat in matzah? She'im yom l'chol say b'beisiv al tikhones ke'inyan Elisha yacher. Al tishbech don't listen to him. Al tikhone b'teshuva, but actually enter into tshuva. Ki zecha cheshko shall bal habayis, but this is what the bal habayis really wants. Ella Shemitah Oschok Ad Kanashona, that it actually is the Shemitah causes the person to go off the derek Ad Kanashona. Vashla Kodesh. So the Shlo, he says the Be'etzem, that in its essence, Mahani Leze Tshuva, it does help. Tshuva does work for this. Gamal Shaar Haveras, like any other Haveras. Vocation of Vucha Bechari, Zecha B'Masha, Amrecha B'Zer, Shadocha B'Hani Tshuva, Hulafisha, the Rov, Misha, Hurgo, B'Chet, and Urim. Ase Kain, Harbe Pamim, he does it over and over again. V'hu Tzarek La'asel, the Tshuva Chachomor now. So he has to do this really heavy tshuva, which we said is 84 fasts. Sak Hanal. Sak pa'amaim. So he says that the amount is multiplied. Kifi pa'amaim she'asa vera. V'raz yachlu shenoisav, he will eat up his life. V'chad tshuva lo tichlach al harov, so that it really doesn't work in most of the cases. V'zecha sherama b'zecha she'ein la'avon zed tshuva. It's just too hard. Mat b'shechat the tshuva came hu meluvash b'tayvus harosh hatava haroh hazuva osa kama pa'amim b'li erech v'chein yu'un sham. So that we also look over there And are we out of time here? They're out of time. So we'll try to get back to this phrase right here. Pick it up for the next time that we learn that. This is Baruch Fleischman, and you've been listening to the Tikkun Elevator Call Out.